Carrying on from the last video that I couldn't tell, I was already marked for murder, obviously, by this war of Nepal Ghanem's regime in Kathmandu, Nepal. If I stayed on any longer, and I couldn't tell them what had happened with the very person who'd given me. I mean, essentially, he made it possible to have me as awarded this British Foreign and Commonwealth Office Chevening Scholarship administered by British Council. That UK was going to be. I mean, I wouldn't know if it was going to be hell, but I mean, it was not definitely going to be easy ride for me. And this, I thought me wobbled in America, having made mistakes in America. I mean, not my doing. I mean, I was too hard on myself for long. Actually, I mean, how could I perform when I would be hungry half a day? The first year, I'll come to that. My money was taken by the residents of the university I was staying in, and torture effect as well. I mean, the memory of torture would erupt at night and following morning. I would literally jump on the floor to suppress it. So, well, I mean, I guess that's the bargain I had to have with my life. Anyway, so I couldn't tell these criminals that, I couldn't stay on in Nepal any longer, nor it was going to be any better for me in UK. Because, I mean, obviously Mr. Andrew McCosh was an intelligence person, knew what had happened about Royal Massacre, and as interpreted to him by Nepal Intelligence Network, International Intelligence Network, this chosen war of Nepal, Devraj Dal, that I would be proving it. I don't give up easily, so already threat to international order, global empire, global order, liberal order, free democracy, advanced, developed, civilized society system. So I told the woman who gave birth to me, well, I had to sign the contract. It's a government scholarship given by British government for training me so that I worked in development sector better. I mean, in a way, that's the way it is to train me as a development worker. I mean, in university itself, the education, liberal education is, I mean, all open. I mean, it's a critique of the very system that has created this society, this state, this prosperous state, the university, prosperous university. Starting off with, I mean, it's in the textbooks, the piracy, officially sanctioned piracy by Francis Drake, authorized by Elizabeth I. I mean, official loot, pillage, Spanish bullions, because the products being sent to products being bought from China, the bone China and everything, silk and everything was draining the British treasury of the silvers and golds because Chinese didn't want anything other than gold and silver because that Chinese didn't recognize the barbarians' currencies. Chinese had their own heavenly mandate going on, and they didn't want to trade with Britain because they thought British products were inferior. They didn't want to trade with any barbarians. They just wanted to sell and get the silver and gold. So silver and gold depletion led to this piracy, and then that too was not enough because all silver and gold was going still to China. So Indians in the most fertile area of India, Indians were turned into making hashish, the opium, and the opium factories started in India and to sell opium to uh, opium. I mean, I pronounced it in a South Asian way, opium in English. Opium to China, hence the Hong Kong take around 99 years lease. And the Opium War, Chinese were pushed drugs. I mean, it was in the text book of Master of International Relations that I did at Warwick University. The British prosperity is based on uh, piracy and drugs, basically, starting off with, and slavery indeed. But I mean, but that doesn't matter. When I go back to Nepal, when I went back to Nepal, I was back to being a development war of white masters. UN, it doesn't matter. UN is run as a development fiefdom of the first world, rich, advanced, developed, civilized Western countries. So, so I told the woman, uh, gave birth to me, look, I had to sign a contract. It's a government scholarship. I would not be allowed to stay on. So I have to come back. I mean, allow me to do this master's. I waited for 4 years to get this after I came back from Philippines. I mean, you don't allow me to go anywhere. I mean, I couldn't even. I mean, that's the thing about being broken. I mean, I saw the paddle with the little girl, the prostitute, stayed with. I mean, I know what was happening. I had been tortured all my life, layered upon layered upon layered upon torture, trauma, memory, suppressed. I mean, they were nobody to me. But then I kind of felt beholden to them. I just couldn't leave. And I had no option of leaving as well. I mean, I've written about it in Twitter thread. I could have made money in business. They would still be around. I mean, these people would always be feeling threatened. I'll talk about how threatened they were even after I came to UK. The first day I had landed, I already had received email from the first daughter of the woman who gave birth to me, for whose rape I had much anguished about, threatening me if I don't write them back right away, contact them right away, they'd go to British embassy to inquire about me. Always. So with all that kind of crimes, I mean, enormous crimes, stealing money from one superpower, America, USA money heist, as I write about in Twitter thread. I mean, these criminals had to be always afraid of my existence, obviously, and my very existence was the proof that their whole idea of universe was uh, upended. I mean, I should have been born, as I've written about in the Twitter thread, quadruple sin of my birth. Uh, so the quadruple sin, meaning, uh, you know, first rape, second rape by lower caste person of upper caste person, cross-border rape, and then that too by hated Indian of Nepali, dark-skinned Indian, obviously, of a very fair-skinned mountain Nepali Hindu. Um, you know, I've written whiter than white. I mean, she's very fair-skinned. I mean, actually, her American business partner, that business I'll come back to, that I helped create it actually, made it big. He used to tell me if the woman went to America and dressed as a Western person, she would be indistinguishable from a white European person. So that white. Uh, anyway, so I told her, look, I have to return back. I would not be allowed to stay on. And then she reluctantly agreed. But then, last 4 days, every night she would put rat poison in my dal soup. I would know it. It was the easiest way. She'd done it all my life. Now, what I did was, I mean, I couldn't quite not take it because she would know. I mean, as I've written about how I passed high school, letting her make me drink a big jug full of water so that you know, she would be reassured. She would be assured that I would fail the first day's exam. Otherwise, she would try to rake other day's exam, and then eventually I passed the high school exam in first division, what this they call it, over upper percentile, upper upper topmost upper percentile, not the top 10. I mean, top 10 marks were differentiated from the within the top percentile. So, and hence I was allowed to study the pre-med. I mean, essentially pre-med course, on course to become medical doctor. But they didn't allow me to become medical doctor, as I've written in the Twitter thread. So she put it in a dal soup, uh, rat poison, all 4 nights before I left. I'll take it, and then I'll drink copious amount of water right after and go to the toilet and vomit it out. And the rest, I, I left it up to my otherworldly constitution. She herself used to tell me, I mean, it's a Hindu term, Devadi Dev Mahadev. That means God of God, great God. Mahadev is great God. So I would never die, no matter what she did. But I mean, I don't believe in that superstitious uh, fairy tale stuff. I mean, just that uh, she had done so much to my body. I mean, from the time I was born, I just became too immune for many things, I guess. I mean, and that's the reason I this near fatal heart surgery, and then right after they tried to murder me twice, that I survived. So she did that last 4 days before I left for UK, and then I went to the airport, and there was a Nepali Intel person on the night of my flight. I'd uh, flown by Qatar Airways via Doha, Qatar. Uh, that would have an interesting turn later in my life. I mean, but I had nothing to do with it, you know. So we'll talk about it later. So regarding the experiences with the believers from that region of the world, I mean, and everywhere. So so when I was flying, there was a Nepali Intel person, and I was told I was not allowed to take certain stuff from my luggage. So I mean, it was my luck. I think I came out after I mean, I thought because international airlines. I mean, I think that was my first time flying through a Middle East country. I didn't know that. I mean, international flight. I mean, usually 40 kg. So I had provisioned 40 kg. I mean, I guess for Europe it's different. I didn't know. I mean, it was my first time coming to Europe. No, not first time. I had gone to Germany, but I've written about it in the Twitter thread. At the time, invitation from a German government, the very Frederick Ebert Stiftung, arranged by the very guy who turned out to be such a horrendous criminal. I mean, right after I mean, he had personal grudge anyway. I've written about it in Twitter thread. So FES invitation German visit, I had just taken carry-on logs, like just for a week. For a very long time, I thought, so I had to come out from after I had checked in already at the airlines gate. And I think the person that gave birth to me and her husband were about to leave. And I flagged them. My luck, otherwise I would have been gotten right there. I mean, luck has always favored me, as I say, otherwise I would not be here. So I flagged them down. They were about to leave in the vehicle. And they stopped, and I told them that I cannot, I'm not being allowed to take all the stuff, so you have to take some back. Which, by the way, I had to order through parcel because, again, everything would be taken from my allowances. Right? It's such a criminally racist, sadistically racist Int'L up. It has been. So, so uh, after I told her that, well, I mean, after I go to airport, I survived through four nights of poisoning. So active poisoning. Obviously, she had to relent. So after we went to airport, I mean, I had to flag them down. I was told I can't carry 40. It had to be cut down to 20. so 20 kg, the luggage. So I came out. My luck, they were just about to leave. I flagged them down right outside the airport. The vehicle was being driven by the person who I thought was my father. Uh, but I mean, I cannot even call him father, ex-father anymore. It's like, all that memory now. He obviously was also part of actively murdering me at some point. So